In other news we are tracking this afternoon, the Liberal government's affordable housing and groceries bill is one step closer to passing. The NDP has agreed to back it in exchange for a series of amendments inspired by a similar bill from Jagmeet Singh. CTV's Rachel Aiello is following that story for us from Ottawa. Rachel, good afternoon. It's good to see you. So there is, of course, some relief there for the Liberals, but it comes with caveats. Tell us about NDP amendments in the affordable housing groceries bill.
That's right. So yes, the Liberals will be heading into Monday's return to the House a bit lighter, knowing that they have secured the support of the NDP to pass this motion that essentially sets the programming timeline for this bill to make it through the House. Freeland tabled it the first week of the fall sitting. This was really, Akshay, the Liberals' marquee affordability package, talking about a GST rebate for rental housing and a series of measures to tackle competition around the grocery sector. And it has stalled, didn't really move that far. The Liberals said this was because of Conservative obstruction. So they've looked to the NDP to try to get on side to help them pass it. The NDP have agreed. They will back this motion, essentially fast-tracking the bill through the rest of the stages in the House in exchange for some caveats. This is because NDP leader Jagmeet Singh had put forward a similar bill proposing a series of changes to try to beef up the Competition Bureau's powers, try to go after bad actors in grocery sectors, going after things like price gouging, stagflation. And so this was really a question, Akshay, whether the NDP would support the Liberals on their bill because they felt theirs went further and farther. Well, in exchange for their support to see the government's bill pass, they have been able to insert, or they will be able to insert at the committee stage, a number of amendments that essentially pull at some of what Singh proposed in his bill, blending that into this government legislation, kind of making both sides happy, but it did take a number of months for them to come together and get this bill back on track again.
Rachel, can we highlight, of course, for our viewers who are watching this broadcast, what are those two main priorities as we speak in terms of housing and groceries? What does this bill really propose to bring relief to Canadians?
So one measure of this bill is to introduce a 100% rebate on GST for purpose-built rentals. The government says this is going to increase the amount of supply there are of affordable rental units across Canada. The other measures are proposing to change the Canadian competition laws and rules to encourage more competition. They are saying in the grocery sector, but in others, there are behaviors that the federal regulations need a bit more teeth to go after. So trying to impose higher penalties was one of the amendments the NDP got in on companies who do price gouge or price fixing. So that'll be a step that once passed will be another measure that the federal government has to crack down on some of these corporate practices. And so this is all coming because the Liberals have really been trying to focus on affordability, but getting this close to Christmas and the long winter break without having passed this legislation, the pressure was clearly on, and based on the sources that I spoke with, this was clearly leverage the NDP saw to try to get a bit of water in the wine, or actually strengthen the bill in this case, seeing some of what the NDP had proposed put into it in exchange for helping the Liberal government finally get this bill across the finish line. Timeline-wise, we're looking at maybe within a week, this could be off to the Senate, and then it's in the upper chamber's hands to consider whether they want to pass this before the new year.
All right, we'll leave it at that for a moment. CTV's Rachel Aiello in Ottawa. Rachel, thank you for this update.